Hello Year 8 and welcome to Lesson 5 of What Issues Are Faced by Growing Cities. Again, you're going to have a mixture of myself and Miss Ball speaking.
Hello, thank you for joining me for Lesson 5 about the issues in growing cities. So we're still in Mumbai and we're going to look in more detail at Dharavi, the informal settlement in Mumbai. We are going to look at the challenges and opportunities faced by people who live and work in Dharavi. Challenges are negative things which need to be overcome. They can't always be overcome, unfortunately. And opportunities are potential advantages. So we're going to compare the challenges or disadvantages to the opportunities or potential advantages of living in a place like Dharavi.
But before we get into the main part of the lesson, I want you to do this quick quiz. So there are 8 short questions. Just write 1 to 8 in the margin and write your answer to these questions. Do so now before it moves on to the answers coming up. So pause here and answer these 8 questions. So pause. So hopefully you've now had the chance to do those questions, and here are the answers in red. What I want you to do is tick the ones that you've got right and correct any that you didn't get right, and then figure out your mark out of 8 and post that into Teams. As teachers, love to see how you're getting on, and it's a nice way of keeping in touch with you during the lesson.
So pause for a second to write today's date and title and copy out this very short paragraph which gives us a little bit of information. Dharavi is 1.2 kilometres squared with 1 million people. It's one of the most densely populated places in the whole planet. Pause now and just write this down. So I'd like you to make a table like this one, and you're going to fill it in from what I tell you in the rest of the lesson. The rest of the lesson is going to be me reading to you from the diary of the boy who has moved to Dharavi. So you'll find that there are plenty of challenges that he and his family must try to overcome, but there are also plenty of opportunities. Pause for a second to make a table. So, dear diary, we've been here in Dharavi for 6 months now. I'm sorry I didn't write before, but I've been so busy. I remember how disappointed I was when we first arrived here. I thought we would never fit in, but everyone has been so kind and generous. I'm happy now that my parents brought us here. When I first heard how much industry is here, I couldn't believe it, but it's true. There are at least 5,000 thriving businesses in Dharavi and 15,000 small factories, all making goods and all making a good profit. In fact, they say that the industries in Dharavi are worth around $1 billion per year. People work hard and very long hours here in Dharavi. The main industries are textiles, leather and recycling. I've managed to get an apprenticeship at a leather goods factory. I start at 8 every morning and work until 6 p.m. Then I go to school for 3 hours and get home around 10 o'clock. I'm always tired. Here's a photograph of the type of factory where the boy would work. This is a leather factory. There's a lot of hard work in making leather, then making leather itself into goods for sale. These goods will be exported to many other countries as well as being sold in India. Perhaps you and I even have something that's been made in Dharavi, but we just don't even realise it. Another big industry in the area is textiles. Firstly, and shown in the photograph just above my head here, the making of specialist textiles such as embroidered textile. This one here is having sequins put onto it, And then there's the making up of garments, like the factory to the other side. It looks like they're making jeans, perhaps. And the recycling industry is a very big part of what goes on in all informal settlements, including Dharavi. Because it's a megacity, there are many millions of people. Remember, at least 10 million people, but in this case it's over 20 million. Well, 20 million people will produce a lot of waste, a lot of rubbish. And this rubbish is recycled by poor people who live in places like Dharavi. So the photograph at the bottom shows them sorting through the waste and splitting it into different categories. The photograph with the wires, the man will be stripping out the copper from the inside of the wire, and eventually he'll have a lot of that which can be sold to a copper factory to make something new, maybe some new wire or maybe something else. And then the other photograph is crushed cans. So these will be either aluminium or steel, and they're all crushed together, so they've been sorted through from the waste and then put all together and sold to either a steel or aluminium manufacturer. Back to the diary. Both of my parents have found work too, and at first we were worried about who would look after my younger brother and sister whilst we were all working, but it hasn't been a problem at all. Everyone in Dharavi looks out for each other, so the children are always cared for by someone. My brother and sister just go next door to our neighbour. Every week I give half my wages to my mum and I spend the other half on going to school. The manager at the leather factory where I work told me I could become a business owner myself in the future if I carry on working hard and get a good education. I can walk to the school, it's just on the edge of Dharavi by the train tracks. So we're doing all right, and I feel very hopeful for the future. I am worried about our health though. Water is the big problem. There is so much disease here, and it's mainly because there isn't enough clean, safe water for everyone. I often hear about families who've lost someone due to waterborne illnesses such as cholera and typhoid. It's hardly surprising when you think there is just one toilet per 100 people here, and all the sewage goes straight down to the river. So far, we've managed to stay healthy by buying water from the store, but it's a huge worry. Many people less fortunate than us can't afford to buy water, and they have to use the standpipes. The water from those is often contaminated. I'm also worried about the risk of fire in a place where so many people live so closely, and we've yet to experience the flooding. We're all very worried about that. We found a nice room, but we are very cramped when we're all home. But so long as the sun is shining and we're all working, I think everything will come out well.
So your table should now be full. Here is a list of things that you could have included, just very briefly though, so hopefully you've got a lot more details on this. Just pause it here and check that you've got everything that you need. So here's the final task. Answering the Q&A if you can, or if that's a bit hard work for, if you work on a phone or something like that, you might want to write it out and then take a picture and send it to your teacher. Anyway, this is the task, it's in yellow. Now that you know more about Dharavi, do you think the family made the right choice to move there? Do you think the opportunities outweigh the challenges? Finish off today's work by giving your opinion with reasons. Don't just randomly state your opinion. I want you to explain it and expand on it. Once you've done that, you're basically at the end of the lesson. If you do have, if you manage to finish early, speak to your teacher. I'm sure they'll be able to give you an extra little task. Next lesson, we're looking at recycling and shanty dwelling. So well done for completing today's lesson. Until next time.